Okay, so we did Brave New World, and I would like to start off with the biography. So the author's name is Aldous Huxley. He was born in Goldberry, England. He was born in on July 26, 1894, and he died November 22nd, 1963, at the age of 69, and he died of late larynx cancer. His father was Leonard Huxley, and his occupation was a teacher and writer. And his mother was Julia Arnold. He had two siblings, Julian, Andrew, David, and Noel. His spouses included Maria Niss from 1919 to 1955, and then he had a new wife in 1956 to 1963 up to his death, which actually his wife basically killed him because she injected him with LSD. And he had a child named Matthew Huxley. He died February 10th, 2005. So I have some childhood and fun facts for you. So his mother died in 1908 of breast cancer. In the middle of these two events, though, he was almost blind caused by keratitis punctate in 1911. 1911. Then he was blindsided again in 1914 when his brother committed suicide. Noel.
No.
No, yeah. And then he experimented with LSD, and he died from LSD. And another fun fact is he died the same day as John F. K. That's why he was not given that much attention for his death. So, wait, do you need a couple seconds, or are you good? So, author's education. He was homeschooled for part of his life until he went to the prestigious school Eton College, which is known as high school. It's not actually the college. Well, he later on went on a scholarship to Balliol College, and he actually graduated with honors in 1916, and he majored in English literature but before that, he had a dream to be a scientist, but then he changed that to pursue a literary career. And then he published A Thing of Poetry in 1916, which was called The Burning Wheel. So then he had like kind of a spree from 1921 to 1928 when he published 4 books: Chrome Yellow, 1921, Antic Hay, 1923, Those Barren Leaves in 1925, and Point Counterpoint in 1928. And then in 1932, he wrote the book that we actually read about. In 1932, he read about Brave New World. And then his last major book was Island in 1962.
Key characters. Lenina Crown, she was a vaccination worker in a central London hatchery. Sometimes she acts unorthodox, but she values those of conventional world state citizens. Fanny Crown, he's one of Lenina's friends, voices the conventional values of her caste on society. The director, the administrator of the Central London Hatchery and the Conditioning Center. He is not a threatening figure because he has power to expire people secretly. Henry Foster, one of Lenina's many lovers. He's an alpha male. Casually discusses Lenina's body with his coworkers. John is the son of the director and Linda. He is the only major character that grew up outside of the world state. He lived on the New Mexico Savage Reservation, and he cannot fit into their society. Linda is John's mother. Abeda could not get an abortion on the reservation and was too only ashamed to return of a baby. She wants to return the world state because her sexual relationships were a scandal on the reservation, but they were normal to the world state in Selma. Bernard, Max, an alpha male, one of the protagonists. Unlike most alphas, he was short, has unorthodox views, and cannot fit into society, which makes him unhappy. When he is threatened, he can be pretty cruel. Petty and cruel. Mustafa Mond, the resident world controller of the Western Europe, one of the only 10 world controllers, was an ambitious scientist, but he was forced to be excelled or become a controller. He gave up on science. Now he censors scientific discoveries and exhales people who have unorthodox beliefs, keeps a connection for forbidden literature in his safe Shakespeare religious writings. The Pope is Linda's lover. He's Linda's lover on the reservation, gave her a copy of the complete works of Shakespeare. The Arch Community Songster. The secular equivalent of a archbishop. The warden, the talkshow chief, administration. Oh my, I can't talk.
Administrator?
That word. For the New Mexico reservation, he is an alpha.
Watson?
Oh, that, yeah,
Oh, it
that
is
one.
on this. Humboldt Watson's an alpha. I lecture at the community of emotional engineering dislikes. Dislikes his meaningless workers. He dislikes the world state. And Bernard, unlike Bernard, petty comments. Watson's are philosophical and intellectual, often bored. Bernard is boastfulness and coward.
And also in this picture, it explains like alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and epsilon.
Epsilon.
Oh, oh my God,
Shows the colors
epsilon.
that they wear too.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to key symbols, where Sama played like a huge part in this book. Soma, why am I messing up so much today? Soma, the drug soma, symbolizes the instant gratification the state uses to control the masses. It also symbolizes the powerful influence of science and technology on society. As a sacrament, Soma replaces religion in the world states. And then consumerism, it encouraging people to buy more and more, and the famous like quote is ending is better than mending. Better to buy something new than fixing it. So our next key symbols are freedom. So freedom enforced happiness of the world state. This allows the freedom to choose. Individuals are actually predetermined before they are embryos. The next one is rejecting humans in science. So the government decides what is best and suppresses knowledge from the rest of society. Okay, so the next one that we have is a key symbol still, and it's a socialism and totalism. Totalism promotes a new direction for socialism, political ideology based upon state-controlled economics, nationalism, and total involvement of the state in internal affairs, and importance of state in preserving socialism. And then the next one is hypnopaedia, and it's sleep therapy, sleep hypnosis, and learning while you sleep. And here's like a picture like presenting it in an ad type of way. And in the book for sleep therapy, they actually did a case, and it did not work. He only could remember it when it was brought back to him. He couldn't retain the information by himself.
key themes, the use of technology to control over society. Technology is a religion. The dangers of an all-powerful state controls people to preserve its own power. State controls over new and powerful technology. Technology forces people to become avid consumers. It controls reproduction, produces soma, limits science research, and turns technology into a religion. The dangers of an all-powerful state controls people to preserve its own power. It changes what people want, losing dignity, morals, values, and emotions. Incompatibility of happiness and truth. Drug replaces reality with happy hallucinations. Food, sex, drugs, nice clothes, and other things. Scientific, empirical, and emotional truth. Why is Brave New World a dystopian novel? It's an imagined state or society, great suffering or injustice. They think happiness, or they think the only way to get happiness is throughout a drug. Life is predestined.
Destined.
Destined. Isolated from society, they're forced. The society they're forced to live in. Huxley's comment on society. He's moving towards a society. He thinks it's overrun by technology. Ford is God. He created an assembly line to perfect these cars. Like I said again, he thinks happiness can only be found through drugs. If you remember from the beginning when he experimented with LSD, he was trying to be happy.
Okay, so then we move on to the summary portion of this. So this starts with babies are born, they're put into their assigned social caste. The DHC ran tests with the children. They put books and flowers in front of the babies, but when the babies touched them, a loud siren went off and they were shocked. This will cause them to have a hatred for flowers and books. And So later on, they it was a repetition every day type of thing. So it was engraved into their mind that like flowers are bad, books are bad. So they were forced to write notes for hours every day. They also made the children play at the playground together, naked. This shows that everyone belongs to everyone. And the government regulated everything. So Helmholtz and Bernard don't take Sama, so they refuse to take it. They witness all the crazy things going on, and they actually want to change the world state. So, oh wait, I'll actually wait so you guys can get this down. So, the people of World State didn't believe the reservations actually even existed, so they were amazed by John. When Nina falls for John but fails to seduce him, and John's mother is Linda. That's important. Linda is addicted to Sama and is hospitalized for being addicted to Sama, which means she's going to die because hospitals do nothing. John realizes the truth about Sama and freaks out. Then there's a riot. So then John accidentally takes Sama and has an orgy, then wakes up the next day and hangs himself. And now we have a video for you guys to watch. Where's it at?
The E down at the bottom,
Oh,
in the toolbar.
hey guys, be ready for some thug bits.
What it do, yo? This here your boy Doc Sweets, and today we getting savage with Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. It's the year 632 AF, and most of civilization is part of one hood called the World State. Up in here, technology making it so that humans pop off assembly lines and be brainwashed to value nothing but what the government tells them. Constant happiness, consumption, and banging group orgies. Woo! Wait, and if you still ain't feeling fly, just throw back a little Soma and you get so iced out that you ain't got no worries. So some high-class pusher named Bernard Marx started thinking that unlike the rest of them Soma-slamming zombies, he's a trail-ass individual who curious about what life on the outside be like. So Bernard hollers at some choice honey named Lenina and asks if she want to roll with him to the Savage Reservation, where peeps be living old school. Lenina holler back, but she acting suspicious about this player since he don't like to pop pills and get dirty like she do. When Bernard and Lenina land at the Savage Reservation, they peep some gnarly beezy named Linda and her boy John, who be called the Savage. Even though John and Linda been living a low life, Linda schooled John on how to read, making him a top-shelf savage. After Bernard takes John back to London, John admits to Lenina that he got mad love for her. But this hoochie can't even understand what that means. Instead, she gets butt-ass naked and try to get freaky with him. But my boy John wants something with meaning. So instead of tapping that ass, he pimp slaps her and sends her ass packing. Then John's mama bites the big one up in the hospital, and John completely loses his shit. So the 5-0 bust in and sling him and Bernard in front of some big bird player named Mustafa Mond. Mond exiles Bernard, but makes John stay, because he wants the experiment to go on. Fed up with the system, John secludes himself in a lighthouse, when one day some snitch gets all up in his business and peeps John whipping himself, making him a media sensation. Later, when a big-ass crowd forms outside his crib with Lenina in tow, John calls her a skate and starts laying a whoop on her. Everybody gets so riled up at the sight that they start popping Soma, screaming orgy porgy, and getting their freak on. Even Johnny Boy joins in. Next day, John wakes up and realizes there ain't nothing he can do to fight the civilized world he's imprisoned in. So our boy takes the only escape left and hangs himself. Ugh. Welcome to the brave new world, son. If you want to roll with the World State crew, you gotta drop your beliefs and adopt a whole new jam called Fordism. Instead of giving up worldly possessions for a heaven in the sky, get ready for a Soma Soap paradise now. All you gotta do is take all that art, science, history, and religion and kiss it goodbye, playboy. My man Karl Marx once said that religion is the opiate of the masses. But Huxley gone and flipped that idea on his head and made opium, aka Soma, the people's religion. And this shit right here is so dank that it also offers hope, consolation, and reassurance. Just like religion, sound better, cause you ain't even gotta do nothing. Just like Mustafa Mond say, Soma is Christianity without tears. Now open up your ears and soak this game up, B. In a place like the World State, where the motto is community, identity, and stability, there ain't nothing more dangerous than a G flying solo. Cause when you're on your own, you ain't got nobody to put your strongest emotions in check. With all your love directed at only one thing, you end up unstable, miserable, and wanting to take yourself out of the game for good. Now I mean, that's why the World State throwing all those swanky sax parties, so you can get all that excess emotion out on the reg. Don't believe me? Just look how unstable Johnny Boy be when he on the reservation. He even shanks one of his mama's lovers. And it don't get no better in the civilized world. When Lenina standing butt naked in front of him, he roughs her up, calls her a hoe, and threatens to waste her ass. Maybe there's a good reason they call him a savage. And with all that excessive emotion building up, it's no wonder that this fool ices himself. Looks like Mustafa Mond's experiment went exactly as he expected. Hey, thanks for keeping it real with Thug Notes. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you next week, player.